I don't know what they are quarreling about. The Americans are saying that some of the Latin Americans are sending drugs to the US. But whatever the case, we shall find out, we shall learn more. But whatever the case is, you can see the gaps, which I'm telling you about. Because the Americans are operating from 4 dimensions. They're operating from sea, they're in the sea. The Latin Americans are not there. They don't have a navy. Then they can come with air force, and then space. They're in space. Now they are trying to come on land, which of course is very risky also for the Americans. There you come near, because even me, who has got a short range, I can harm you. But there you are at an advantage. You are seeing me in space. I'm not seeing you. You are in the ocean. I'm not there. I'm here. So this is what we are talking about. That the Africans, because of that was our target in 1963. And Mwalimu was going to move, but Kenyatta and Obote decided to remain big fishes in smaller ponds. Some people like that. When you're a big fish in a smaller pond, you feel very, very big. But when trouble comes, you may not survive. So, the issue of the strategic security of Africa is very crucial. East African Federation, I'm glad the East African leaders have never given up. Even when we were last in Arusha, they appointed me as an advocate for the Federation, so that we are able to unite our land space, unite our sea space, have more resources to be able to build capacity in the 4 dimensions: on land, at sea, in the air, and in the space. Good space, must go to space. We can't remain here when other people are in space and you think we are clever. Dancing and watching European football clubs. It's very, very risky for you people. So you should wake up and wake up the young. Yes, the young generation should have pleasure, but also they must have security, a secure future. And they have all the potential, because like East Africa is very strong. Because we can use Swahili. They are the same groups. You have Kenyans like Nyangweso. That Nyangweso is a Kenyan. Is here. All those Samias are from Kenya. Then we have Congolese. Also here, Banyarwanda, they are all. So East Africa is a very powerful unit for the black race. Yes, you can have smaller countries in the world, like in Denmark, but they all have a center of gravity. When they're in trouble, there's a big boy like the US to defend them. Now the African race have no center of gravity. And you are here just dancing in Pakachin, dancing in Pakachin. Very risky very risky. I was young like you. I would also dance, swing girls like this. But I would also remember to fight. Fight, study, fight, work, and dance once in a while. But the problem is that you are now dancing all the time.
My name is Sean Ibrahim.
Now, what motivates me is because I love myself. I love myself as a person of the Cow clan, Owente, as a Munyankore Mhororo, as a Ugandan, as an African. I'm very, 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 I love you people. Now I have children. All of you are my children and grandchildren. And we could see from the 60s when we started following, we could see that if we didn't do this or that, we could be in danger. Could be in danger. The world is not kind. If you are weak, you can disappear. And I don't want my race, my African people, to disappear or to become slaves. Because when you hear America, the people whom you call Americans now are Europeans who went and took the land of the Indians. Because the Indians were stupid, they were not organized. And the Europeans had already tried to take our land. Those who came to South Africa, they are taking the land in South Africa, in Zimbabwe, even here in Kenya, in the 1950s, we were learning of something they were calling the White Highlands. Part of Kenya was regarded as White Highlands. That's what they were teaching us. But what happened at that time, there were changes in the world which favored us. By 1900, the whole of Africa had been colonized. Our stupid chiefs had failed to defend us because they were fighting among themselves. So the whole of Africa had been colonized. But what happened was that in 1912, the Africans in South Africa formed the first resistance movement, the ANC. They formed modern people now. Actually, it started in the US, the black people there. Some of them started Pan-Africanism. There was a man called Marcus Garvey, another one called something else, I've forgotten their name, W.B. Du Bois. They started talking about African freedom. When the whole of Africa had been colonized, except for Ethiopia. So in 1912, the Africans formed the ANC to resist. Then in 1917, we had good luck. Russia was taken over by communists. These are where people who had a different idea. They didn't agree with imperialism. The communists, they took over Russia. So they started working with our anti-colonial fighters. And then also, African witchcraft worked. Because the Europeans, because of their greed, started fighting among themselves. The First World War. our African magic worked. They started fighting among themselves, the Germans and the British and all that group. And they mobilized our grandparents to go and fight for them. So our grandparents went and saw, oh, okay, this is how you fight with modern arms. So by the time they ended this First World War, their quarrels didn't end. Then they started the Second World War. That was even worse for them. By that time, they were so weak that countries like India had to get independence. Because they were not only colonizing us, they were colonizing also Asia. Asia, India, Indonesia, Vietnam, all those were colonies. So by the end of the Second World War, they were so weak, they couldn't keep India, Indonesia, Vietnam, and Africa was also on the way. Now, then 1949, China was taken over by communists. So the anti-imperialist bloc was very, very big and powerful. That's how they had to give up, say, give independence. But otherwise, really what they wanted was to do like what happened in America, where the indigenous people either disappear completely or survive as second class. So that's why this is what I cannot accept. You can see these wonderful people, my children, my grandchildren, you people. I want you to be free people. So I can't compromise on that. And because of that, we started fighting with our own fools here, who had wasting our time. I mean, what? Toka. You don't know what you are doing, and that he wants to be our president, Idi Amin. But you don't know what you are doing. And we are in a war with serious people. Then you come here as a joker to waste our time. Get out. Toka. So that's really the motivation. Freedom for the black race. Freedom for the black race. Insurance. Freedom and insurance of freedom for the black race. Now, about stamina and so on, this is partly also because of, I think I was lucky because my family, because the African people are very strong. The problem are the kings, the ones who are really wasting our time. The rulers are the ones who waste our time. But otherwise, Africans are very strong, especially in this area here. You can read what Stanley wrote. Those are explorers who came here, Huntington Speak, Stanley, they wrote, said, these Africans, these fellows are advanced. Who are advanced? Agriculture, bananas, cows. The problem were just our rulers who were always fighting one another, full of themselves, king, what. Then they divide us. But otherwise, the communities are very strong. Now, the luck I had was that my family never got involved so much in the colonial system, was never involved in the colonial system. My great-grandfather was alive when the Europeans came. He died, I think, around 1915. He never joined the church. He kept with his cows. He didn't join the colonial system. He didn't join the church. He died in 1915. Then my grandfathers were there. They were rich traditional people. They never went into the churches. They never joined the colonial system. They remained with the cows. The cows. They died. I think the last died around 1943 there. It was Kaguta who was the first person to go into the church. And by that time I was there myself also. So I went with him as a junior member. And we joined the church in 1947. But even when we joined, we remained traditional. See, traditional people are very strong. They are not very strong. Stamina, looking after cows, what. So things you find, even when I was joined the army, what they were doing in the army was much weaker than my lifestyle. As cattle keeper, you are very, very tough. So it's just luck, because I think if I had joined the chapati eating and all that, it may have been different. But I'm an original Munyankore who knows English and has studied the world. This is the advantage you read about the stamina. My uncles have just died. They were one of them died at 104 years. Another, Kaguta died when he was 97. But for most of the time he was looking after the cows. Even in the 90s, he would go and these children were seeing him. He was looking after the cows. So it is that tradition. If you can imagine the Karamojong, if he doesn't become disoriented, he is a very strong person. That lifestyle there is gives you stamina. So the culture I had a discussion with the Nabagereka, and she was trying to talk about the culture. I said, yes, we can audit it. We can audit the culture and see some of the practices which are out of date and remove them, but keep the others which are very strong. So I think it is that combination, the motivation to make sure that you don't become slaves, we don't become slaves, and then secondly, the stamina is from the historical accident of a traditional man arriving in the city. Because they had never seen traditional people. They had people who had become like westernized. I'm not westernized. I'm an original Munyankore who just arrived in the town here. From when I came to Mbarara, 1959 for junior secondary, that was my first time to go from the village to the town. And see rice, all this. And for us, we didn't like those things. Rice, we were giving it a bad name. We were stuck with our things. Even now I eat my mhogo. I don't eat rice. Yeah. So that is the...
And for us, the chapati eaters, what is our hope?
But remember that millet is there. You can come back to millet, you can come back. Because me, I eat millet. They know. I eat millet, I eat muhogo. I eat our food. I don't eat European foods.
And you inspire all of us.